All right. Hey, Kristen. As a way to get
Hello.
started, can you tell us a brief about what you do at GreenEarth, what GreenEarth does?
Well, GreenEarth is a landscaping company. We're located in now three different places: Freeport, Washington, Free Ferndale, Washington, excuse me, Freeport, Florida, which is where I am, and then somewhere out in Colorado. I cannot remember that name to save my life, but I am an estimator. I work on landscaping and projects to estimate and send out for us to bid against other companies. We do a little bit of everything: construction projects, land sod, pavers, maintenance for big areas, HOAs and all that kind of stuff. So a little bit of everything.
All right. And so you are focusing on the Florida market, or you are working on estimating with teams across different
I
regions?
am really just focusing on the Florida market. I believe they have an estimator out in Colorado too, and I'm not sure that they do in Washington, but there's just a lot coming in and out at the moment for me. So I keep plenty busy about the last week or so. So it's starting to pick up.
All right. Spring is here, right?
Yes, and it's good and bad because I never leave the office.
Well, yeah, we just remember the winter after it's passed. Anyway,
Oh
so
yeah.
all right. So tell me about how you found out about SiteRecon. What intrigued you about when you saw it for the first time?
Well, David Arnold, one of our consultants, found it, and him and Jeremy, the owner of the company, collaborated and thought that it would be a good time-consuming item. And so we met with you and went over it. And I was skeptical about it at first, but the more I've been working with it, the more I've liked it, and the better and better it seems to be going. So it's really just kind of heard from them about it, looked over it some, and just kind of went from there.
So the skepticism that you refer to, tell me about it. What was the skepticism about?
Well, it was just that, it's a program I've never heard about. I've always been old fashioned with AutoCAD and Google Earth and going out to the sites. So wasn't sure how accurate it would be sending it off to somebody who's not within the area, but it turns out to be really spot on. So it's impressive to prove me wrong.
Glad it could do that, but if you so you were doing some measurements before, and so you were using Google Earth. You mentioned a couple of other softwares, um, and so just tell me like what that process was. Were you measuring every site, like measuring every polygon, every bed, every tree on the site, how detailed it was, and just like were you visiting sites?
Yeah. Well, I would use Go Island at first, and the pictures were not always as up to date as what we use now with SiteRecon. I'd have to go in and manually mark off everything, and sometimes the pictures weren't the best, and it kind of felt the same with Google Earth. Sometimes it's hard to tell certain pictures because they would only be as updated as like maybe 2013. So yes, Google Earth struggles a little bit. But it was more of a time-consuming process, and sometimes it wouldn't pull it up at all. So that I'd have to go mark out some time in my schedule to go to the site and spend like a day walking properties, and that was tiring, and I'd fall behind so much on work. And now it's not as much like that. I'm actually trying to be ahead and be able to bounce around and work on different stuff to keep on track, and it's very nice.
Good stuff. And so, like when you are working on a project in the market, how far could it be from your office? Like if you have to drive down to that site.
Goodness, it can vary. It can be maybe 30 minutes down in Santa Rosa Beach or Destin, or it could be like an hour out in Panama City, Florida, all the way to Mexico Beach or Pensacola. So it ranges from 30 minutes to 2 hours.
And that's a 2 hour drive one way, right? And then you drive.
Yes.
Oh man. And so, you know, and so like, and in terms of size of the property that you would need to walk, what could be the ranges that you were working with?
It can range from just a small business all the way to a large townhome type neighborhood with multiple buildings, and goodness, what's one that I spent a while on? I think, I can't remember one that I went on that was larger, but I've been to a couple of townhomes that have taken me about maybe an hour or so to walk around with, or more, just because I'd have to go and do the grass and the flower beds and the edging and count the trees and all that fun stuff, check the irrigation. So it really did vary, but the bigger the property, the longer I was out during the day and the less I could get done in my span of time at work.
All right. I see this. You placed an order some time back. It's 28 acres in Panama City Beach. I think that's what you were referring to, the townhome.
It's one of them, but I don't actually have to go out. That's Palmetto Trace. It's a major HOA that we are looking into right now. I believe we're working with them to be working back with them. I think at one point we were maintaining them. So it's really good to get that connection back and going. But yes, if I did not have, this ability from here to be able to get all this updated information, I probably would be having to go back and forth to this place throughout today or next week or sometime.
Oh man. Oh, and I see quite a few orders from Panama City Beach.
It's a major neighborhood. I remember you telling us it's faster to break it up into sections. So there's about 3 to 4 sections for that neighborhood that I've had to break apart and send off.
I see. All right. Good stuff. Yeah. So you don't have to drive there anymore. You don't have to spend the day doing it. But just like getting out of the office was not an incentive, I'm sure.
No, not necessarily. I mean, just being able to have my work completed. And I do enjoy being out on the sites and seeing what they look like and seeing how we can improve them or how they look now since we've been maintaining them. Like, I always enjoy that's part of why I'm in this major, is because I enjoy doing these types of things. But if I could knock it all out and then go do other sites or help in other ways outside the office on top of doing this with SiteRecon, then it's definitely what I'd rather do.
All right, so let's talk about that. So you're getting this automated, and so how much time, if you are working on landscape maintenance bid, how much time would go into the measuring part and how much time would go into the estimating part?
Estimating does not take terribly long. I'd have to say maybe collectively an hour to get everything up and together in the bid itself, just because I've already have the numbers now.
Yeah.
If I'm not having a SiteRecon, it could take me a couple hours to mark it off on my own, and on top of going and visiting the site. So, I mean, it could take if it's a major site, it'd probably take half a day to knock it out if I have to go out and measure it on my own.
I see. And so, like, if you had to think about a ratio, like measurement to estimating, would it be like a 70-30 or an 80-20?
Probably more in the 70-30 range, of more of a doing measurements and takeoffs versus the estimation when you're just looking at one bids or property solely. Sometimes I'm able to pull up past referencing and knock it out that way, but it really, as much as I don't like to say this, it really just depends on the property you're looking at and how accurate you can get on your own versus going out there and getting it. So
yeah. And so it's really dropped down to a state where if it was 7 hours to 3 hours, it's like 1 hour to 3 hours, or it's like half an hour to 3 hours, or, I mean, assuming it was taking 3 hours to estimate, you're saying it doesn't, but the measurement piece has just gone out of the window, right? Totally.
Yeah, we're just for the measurements now. It's just me waiting for it to come back. And I mean, it's either if I send it off in the morning, I'll get it at the end of the day and knock it out, or get it in the cost area for the bid in the morning. I mean, I can send off multiple ones and come back the next day and get them done. So really, I feel like it's now more of instead of a 70-30, maybe like a 50-50 type deal, because I just have to pick up the numbers, double check that it's accurate. And if I have to go to the site, that doesn't bother me as much as when I have to measure everything and make sure that's right, and then go double check again out on the field and everything like that.
So you still visit the sites after the measurements have come out?
I do try to, yes, because I have to see how many irrigation zones there are.
Yeah.
And that's harder to pick up on site when you can't see the actual, on a website, when you can't see the actual box. So
Yeah.
that's because we do take care of the irrigation as well to make sure it's up and running. So
I see. Any other things? So irrigation is one thing. Some folks talk about topography, like they want to see what the slopes are like on the property. Is there anything else that you see apart from irrigation when you're visiting it in terms of like maintaining a site?
topography and the width of the grass to see which lawnmower fits best, or both that go hand in hand, because if it's too high of a hill, the lawnmower is just going to scalp the grass and make it go down to the dirt. So it's easier to take a weed eater or something like that. So it's really just determining what is the best outcome to get it done in an efficient way without it looking horrible.
Yeah, yeah.
But other than that, I don't see really anything else that I would go check other than just to double check maybe the height of the palm trees or something like that.
I see. Makes sense. And so you get some time back on your hand. What do you do with it?
Really, I'll just go over. It's given me more time to be able to knock out the larger project estimates and really dive into that and kind of understand it. We also work in enhancements as well for current customers, and I'm able to knock those out a lot faster and help out with other departments by doing that. And it's gotten a lot better. I'm able to understand my role a lot more and kind of dive into areas like that since I've got that tiny bit of extra time.
Yeah, I mean, you're not a measurer, right? You are an estimator.
Yes. That is correct. I meant to spit out stuff that produces for our team and not doodle all day.
Yeah, it's just busy work, man. It's just, yeah. So have the folks in the construction team, have they noticed a difference and said, okay, some things are happening faster? That's helpful.
I think so, a little bit. I go back and forth with them for feedback on their side with their estimates. We have meetings weekly to go over stuff. The maintenance, I'm able to, which is what I really use SiteRecon for, is maintenance. It's going a lot faster. The sales team is happy with that because I'm able to give it to them a lot faster turnaround so they can get back to the clients. And it just, I know as far as the team as a whole, and they like how it's just a little bit more accurate because then we're comparing apples to apples now, or to see where it was and was not supposed to be at. And that's what we really are kind of honing on. So that's why I'm glad that I've got that, because I'm a stickler for having things done the right way the first time instead of having to fix it constantly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so tell me a little bit about the accuracy. So compared to just visiting the site and walking it and the numbers that you're getting right now, like what are the benefits you think are coming in terms of accuracy?
I think that it helps to get all of it instead of just a general measurement, because for typically when we go out, we do length times width for square footage instead of the whole, like a whole area. And having it being able to be encased like it is with the program is very helpful, because I mean, it might get something that I might miss if I did it on my own computer time or something like that, and it doesn't overlap. Having the lines snap to each other to section out certain areas is also very helpful, because I can circle something and it'll just automatically just be perfectly fine and adjust as need be. And then when I get it back, everything is sectioned out to the T, and versus like maybe go Eilon where it's overlapping, because I wanted to make sure everything was fine and it's not double dipping, which is very big.
Yeah. Do you think it would have some effect on the productivity of the sales team too? I mean, like if you get more accurate quotes, like accurate measurements lead to accurate quotes, and that variability kind of goes away in pricing, where you might just overbid or underbid.
like it might help them more because they're like, hey, this is what we have. But in terms of helping improving, I feel like it helps more with the maintenance department and crews versus sales team. The sales team would probably, I'm sure, appreciates the fastness of the turnaround for giving the documents. But as far as it is for our crew members and those who are out in the field, it gives a better comparison of our systems and our templates with this measurement versus how they do that, because then we can tie it up together, make it tighter, and I guess they're that way make it a better estimate for the client. Be like, hey, you have this much square footage, and we know that for a fact. We have not only been to site, but we have an accurate program, and this is just about how long it's going to take. And I feel like that if it really ever boiled down to that with a client, then that would be good data to have.
Right. Like really having the quantity in place that's accurate, and
yes,
doing that back and forth, that, this is how much it should cost.
Yes, because some people are a numbers person, and it's good to actually have that instead of, well, it's about this. No, it's actually this. So it's a good thing to have.
Yeah. I mean, people just try to downplay things when they are trying to cut down cost, right?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah, makes sense. So thinking about it in terms of like from a high level view, what would you say the biggest value has been for you from the system?
I guess just the time saving aspect of it is the biggest portion, because it's just a world of difference. And because I mean, I've been in different places that don't have programs like this, and I would spend days of the week just traveling and adding miles to either a work truck or a personal car. And I mean, it's tiring, and having the ability to sit and work through stuff and be like, yeah, this is for sure accurate. This is done. You can send it off. You can review it. Like it's more of a peace of mind in a sense for my week, because I'll know what's going on, because I'll be like, oh no, that's off getting measured. I can go and visit this site, or I can go do a kickoff with somebody else if they've got questions for me. I can go visit project sites that are just starting and mark off areas that on my own paper, so I can understand that better. Like I've said before, it just kind of helps me become a better estimator, since I've got now the time to do that.
Yeah. So from your sales team, like how many sales reps are working? Like you're the only estimator in your team, right? And how many sales reps do you have that you need to support?
There are about 2. We have 2 client relations that do the enhancements, so it's about 4, but really truly just solely sales is 2.
I see. And with more time on your hand, do you think you can have more sales rep in the team that can be supported?
I think so. They've been bringing some good stuff in lately, and I've been able to turn it around a lot faster because I'm able to talk to my vendors more and be on top of them. So yeah, I think I could handle more if it came my way. I'm always up for a challenge.
All right. And you got someone in your corner this time, right? Some piece of tech.
Yes. I have this weird looking tablet thing that I'm trying to work on. I've got to get it up and running, but it can help me to draw out some stuff quickly for enhancements or anything like that. So we're moving up in the world. The tape is just from that you see in the corner is just simply from a project that I was working on. I just didn't throw it away.
Okay, I see. I can, your screen is kind of still stuck, but I can definitely see the tape. So
yeah. It froze some time back. It loves to do that.
Yeah. All right. So just last few questions, Krystin, before we wrap up. How likely are you to recommend something like this to your fellow estimators working across the industry?
I feel like I'd be very likely. It's a great program. It's got a lot of potential. I mean, y'all are constantly improving it. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I definitely recommend it if they're like, man, I can't sit here and just measure everything all the time. And you're like, well, hey, there's this program. Go bring it up to near people and see what they think. I mean, I've been super happy about it lately.
All right. And um, if someone feels an apprehension about it, like it's taking away a part of their job, it's automating it, what would you say to them?
Definitely not doing that. You're always going to have to go out to the site if you want to be good at your job. I mean, if you're still going to have aspects you have to go and check. This is just to help you speed up those tedious processes and almost eliminate them so you can work on the bigger picture of stuff.
All right, good stuff. And any thoughts on customer support, trust and reliability of the whole system?
I mean, every time that I've talked to customer support, they've responded to me within a couple of hours or faster. Been super helpful, always fixing the issues. So I mean, I've never really had a complaint about them. They've always been great with me.
Good stuff. And where where do you see this going? Any points that you would like the SiteRecon team to keep in mind as we keep improving the system?
Off the top of my head at the moment, no, I cannot. But I'm sure I might have some tips and pointers throughout because that's how I always am. It's not ever on the spot. It's always after sitting and thinking and mulling over it for a few days.
You're just like me. I should have actually sent this question over before then.
All is well. No, but seriously, I mean, I can't really think of anything that that can be improved on at the moment. I mean, the near maps is about as accurate as you can get with maps, and so just figuring out which projects I can send that are super new, because lately we've been getting ones that are about a year, maybe newer, year older, newer. So just figuring out those on my own is my own personal challenge, not like something y'all can really work with. But in the moment that you can't work with it, you always be like, sorry, we can't get that for you, but we'll work on the other ones without a problem. So been happy about it.
All right. And so there's this crazy thing that we have been thinking, right? Like just if you don't have updated data of a site, like we can't get it, like we put in something like a request on the platform, and then someone else can go and capture it for you. Maybe the customer who's there on the site, maybe someone who's just driving by, if you get even more dreamier about this idea. What would you think?
Yeah. I think that'd be kind of cool. I've actually been working with some of my team members to go look at project sites that are just now being cleared.
Yeah.
And we've been going back and forth like that way. But really, if I have blueprint maps, I'll go after that. But I mean, I think that's got potential too, being able to talk to others and seeing what's going on.
Yeah, yeah. And maybe, just if the business developer is visiting the site, just talking to the customer, and we know beforehand that these parts of the property, we would need a snapshot.
Yeah.
And take a snapshot of it. Just right on the
plan. Yeah, I think that does have potential and something that we could look into and work on. Definitely something I'd have to write down about. I've got about 1 million papers on my desk at the moment. So, but
no worries. We just a thought that we have been playing around with. I thought I'd just run this by with you, and yeah, something that we'll bring out soon.
Yeah, I think that's got some potential. And I mean, of course, there's always going to be kinks and stuff to work with, but I think that'd be something cool to look at.
All right. Thank you so much, Krystin.
Yeah, of course.
Doing this, and I hope you get more and more out of the system. Just push it to the paces. I mean, push it as much as you can.
Yeah, of course. I will definitely do that.
All right. Take care, Krystin.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.